is Samsai here at Nkositalkshows. Find your own voice, lead from within. So with me today, I'm with Carol Ann Cooper and Shireen Lovegrove. How are you, ladies?
Well, good, thank you. And you?
Mhm.
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Are you okay, Carol Ann?
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Awesome. Ready for the topic. Challenge. Carol Ann is always challenging us. Was it you today or Shireen?
yeah, I chose it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the topic today is sleep. Sleep isn't optional. Why rest impact love and life this fall. So this fall invites us into a season of stillness. That's Carol Anne's favorite words, actually, stillness and
Mm.
don't make things wrong. A secret shift where nature slows down, colors soften, and life reminds us that the restoration is not a luxury, but is a necessity. Sleep is not simple. The body shutting down isn't the soul returning to alignment. The mind releasing the chaos and the heart finding room to breathe. When we deny ourselves rest, everything suffers. Our joy, our clarity, our relationship, our purpose. So, Carol Ann, you chose the topic. Would you mind sharing with us what was on your mind, please?
Um, what was on my mind was what can we share, talk about this week. And I just looked through a list of topics that I've asked chat to generate for me for this sort of time. And this one I thought felt really applicable because I feel quite tired at the moment. I haven't had much sleep. I've been up all night. I mean, over at the other weekend, Friday night and Saturday night, I was up all night on two course and on a course that was 2 days, but it was 2 days for Australia, Saturday and Sunday, and I still feel like I'm catching up. But yeah,
Jet
this
lag
time of
without having traveled.
exactly. But this time of year, there is a feeling of slowing down. You can see that the trees are losing their leaves. It's like they're withdrawing. The weather's changing. The nights are drawing in. And so I thought, yeah, sleep isn't optional. Oh, what a great phrase, because actually our body does need sleep and we tend to resist it. And so, you've got people that sort of think, oh, we've got to fight through it. Well, actually, they're doing more harm than good. So I thought it would be a great topic to look at. Why is rest important, and how does it impact your life and also your relationships? Because if you don't have enough sleep, it's not just you that suffers; it's everybody around you. you so why is this, and what can we do to actually use this time for the best? So that's where it came from. So, Shireen, what were your thoughts when you saw this topic?
Yeah, well, it's still a bit of the stuff that we've been speaking about over the last 2 weeks, isn't it? Really about this period and this time of coming and drawing resources, getting rid of what we no longer need,
Yeah,
and bringing ourselves back to ourselves so that we can get to the source, right? Get to the source so that we can spring anew in the springtime.
yeah.
So that's what that when you brought this topic up, I thought, yeah, this feels like a natural progression in the deepening and the slowing, and the bringing into that rest state for me. And I suppose from my own personal experience, or my own personal, when I say my own personal experience, what I've been doing over the last little while has been really looking quite deeply. I mean, it's something called the Kabbalah, which I've been really looking at the 72 names of God, which are just different things about when you ask God, when you use these frequencies, you get a shift and a change. And I was just thinking about the one which is called dialing God. And I started to think about this while you started talking about the slowing down and the clarity. And I was really focusing on the idea when we want to talk to God, when we want to talk to our partner, when we want to talk to ourselves, we need to have a really clear channel, right? And part of this process is really that slowing down so that we can clear, that we can take time to clear, so that we can give ourselves the right kinds of signals that are powerful and useful for us for the future. And we know that absolutely the clearer we are in our communication, the better and the better we're going to be, right? With the better we have in a relationship. So that was kind of sitting there in my mind. And it was funny because Nomsa said, "Oh yes, she's just had a hard time because as you came on, oh, and you actually use sleep. I don't think they're getting enough sleep, which is why they are behaving like not so good children rather than sort of grown-up adults, right? So we kind of know that sleep is so important for us to be able to be in a good mood, because sleep does so much for us. You know, if sleep weren't important, we wouldn't do it. If it wasn't meant to be part of our life, we would not have it. We would have evolved, and we would have evolved out of sleep and not needed it. But sleep is so, so very important. It's not optional. So don't shorten your sleep. But the thing that when we go to sleep, what often happens, a lot of the automatic functions really start to work well. They work better. And our brain actively starts to clean itself, because now we're in a nice regular rhythm without all the mind stuff going on. And our brain can pump out all the stuff that has been the byproduct of our thinking, so that we can wake up fresher in the morning. And of course, I know that even now I'm feeling a little bit tired, as you say, you were feeling tired. Yeah, I get very ratty when I've got a very low tolerance level if I haven't slept well, and I don't have a resource. I don't have, and I think that's also important to say. If we are well resourced, a few nights of lack of sleep is not a problem. But if we are not resourced, it becomes harder. The threshold to our behaviors or our negative behaviors gets a lot lower. And so it means that we're more likely to snap at our partners. We're more likely to badmouth them, and we're more likely to actually think negatively about ourselves at the same time. So all in all, it just really doesn't help. So yeah, this idea of really slowing down, and the idea is to slow down to go fast later on in the spring, hey? Because the spring is a jump, right? It's a real burst of life. But we have to slow down in order to get that energy. We have to get that clarity, and we have to do the cleaning. The cleaning of stuff is really pivotal, I think, so that we can have a clear channel and we can have the good communication, and our nerves can actually communicate with each other in a better way. So yeah, that was really what started to sort of culminate for me while you were talking.
Nice. Nomsa?
Oh, I've got hay fever.
Oh dear.
I love the topic, Carol, and I think sleep is really, really important. I only sleep 4 hours though.
But you sleep 4 hours.
Yeah.
If you didn't sleep even 4 hours, what would that be like for you?
I don't think I can cope with sleeping 8 hours now. I try, but I can't.
That's not my question. If you had no sleep at
I'll be
all,
grumpy.
exactly. So it doesn't matter how much sleep you're using 4 hours sleep. Great. Don't put it
Yeah,
down.
I sleep
Okay.
4 hours, but if my
Mm.
body tells me it's tired, even in the day, I go to sleep. I don't have time to say, okay, I've got to do the work. If my body says, no, sir, I've had enough of you, I just go and sleep for an hour and then I'm up. So I think it's really, really important to have a rest, like you said, Carol Ann. And also, Shireen, you said when you have enough rest, you can communicate, you can have a clear communication with your spouse, be able to listen to the voice of God when he speaks to you. I've heard the pastors saying when you don't have enough rest and when you don't have that quiet time, you can't hear the voice of God and you can't really regroup and so you need that half an hour or 1 hour or even 10 minutes of quiet time, me time, and not every time noise, because it's where when you stop, it's when the ideas come, when the mind is clear about where you're going, and it's where you can hear the voice of God. And also when you're communicating with your spouse as well, you are able to communicate. But otherwise, like Carol Ann was asking me, I'll be grumpy if I don't get enough sleep. And mostly men, I think they're the ones who get really grumpy when they don't get enough sleep. They will be like a grumpy and grumpy. Women, we are able to communicate and say, you know what? If anything happens today, mind me, never mind me because I did not get enough sleep. Yeah, as women, we are good at communicating our problems up front. I've seen with Amanda as well, when she doesn't have a good night's sleep, she's like, no, sir, I'm not coming to the talk show because I did not sleep very well.
Yeah.
So she's like, it happens once in a while. I'm like, yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Right. And it it is important to have that sleep. And it doesn't matter. It's what your body needs. So this sort of, I should have, this so many hours, or you should have this maybe that's what most people need. But if you find that you can manage on less or you need more, then that's your body and you need to honor that rather than making it wrong, saying, oh, this isn't right. I should have more or I should be having less. And sometimes it may be that you're someone that can go on a less sleep for a while and then you catch up and you have a few days where you sleep a lot. There are people that have that sort of cycle, which means they can get a lot done in a short space of time, but knowing that they can then rest. And I find that I used to be a lot like that. And it took me a long time to realize that. It was when I heard someone say about that, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can keep going for a long time and have short sleep, but then I'll make up for it for a couple of days later, you know? And I suddenly stopped making myself wrong for it. I thought, oh, that's how I cope. That's how I manage. And that's how I can do it. Other people don't do it that way. So you have to know your own rhythm and how you can manage your sleep because it's important. And I love this phrase. It says the rest you're avoiding is the connection you're missing. And
That's
for
really
me,
interesting.
that's the connection with yourself. It's that, as Shireen said it, you're drawing in resources, you're going in, you're having that rest, you're reconnecting with yourself. So stop pushing it away and stop avoiding it. Because actually, there's neuroscience research that has shown that poor sleep increases emotional reactivity by up to 60%. It's like, wow, poor sleep and emotional reactivity. Because lack of sleep, also it makes criticism feel like it's louder, it's more impactful. All of a sudden all you hear is the criticism. You don't feel the affection. That sort of somehow shrinks in it. It's as if, criticism has that louder voice and booms at you and triggers you. because you're tired. So being able to get that sleep helps to rebalance that so that you can then feel that affection and you can listen to any criticism without taking it so personally, without it, reacting to it, and actually acknowledge it for what it is. It's someone else's point of view. And sometimes it's important to be able to hear that point of view because that's how it is for them. And you can actually grow from that point of view. You have a choice. You can ignore it or you can, help it, use it to help you grow. Learn it as feedback only. If you're tired, I think those options go out the window. It's just the criticizing and it's just too much. And so you get that reaction. So certainly, be aware that sleep is really important. And giving yourself, and I love what you said, Nomsa, if you're a bit tired in the day, you give yourself that time to sleep. You're listening to your body. And it's okay to take a nap in the day because it's that regrouping, recuperation. And I often do it. It's like, I might put my alarm on for an hour, but half an hour later I'm going, oh, that's all right, I'm up, and because I feel refreshed. Other times I'll turn the alarm off and it's like, oh, I can't get up now. No. And I need another half an hour. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm ready to go. So it is listening to your body, and actually giving it that time. And yeah, with this sort of season where you've got the darkness coming in, that can create more need for that rest, for a lot of people. And it's being able to manage it, as you were saying, Shireen,
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. I mean, I loved what you said, is, the phrase you used, which is the not resting means that you lose the communication. That was such a powerful statement. Yeah, I think, a lot of us really don't. I love the fact that, Nomsa, you listen to your body. We all don't listen to our body. And, I think what's really important is that, our whole soul, our whole spirit is in our body, right? And so if we're tired, it means our soul is tired right now. It needs a little bit of a break. But something that I was really paying attention to the other day was they were talking about stress, and they were talking about basically histamine and histamine overload, what's going on about that. But when we don't sleep and we are tired and we don't have restful sleep or mindful rest in some way, what happens is that we, as I said, the sleep is the biggest and the most powerful way to get rid of toxic waste in our brain. So if we're not sleeping, we're not actually activating that channel. So that also means that everywhere else in the body is not also activated. So we end up having more and more waste products building in our body, and we aren't able, going and running and doing gym is not going to get rid of those waste products, right? They'll help, but they won't get rid of the interstitial part. So it's really useful to understand that most inflammatory conditions happen because of lack of sleep. In fact, when we look at many illnesses, we'll see that lack of sleep sits very high in that compartment. And we also know that lack of restful sleep, there are people that are fine with only 4 hours sleep, but lack of restful sleep where you don't listen to your body and take the appropriate rest is really correlated with Alzheimer's, really correlated with dementia, really correlated with a lot of other high blood pressure is another one, diabetes, another one. I mean, you just think the normal common things, there are very big correlations. And it is because of this histamine release and the stress caused through the stress. So when we don't sleep, we get stressed. Our body is automatically stressed. And so we're not clearing And so what happens is we end up in this body overload. So we've got to work through the overload. And how do we do that? We go to sleep, right? We go to sleep. We do nice deep breathing to help regulate our body, to bring our regulatory system into balance, so that we can start to release the stuff that needs to be released, and then we become more open to whatever we want to receive, right? So it's kind of like, we're not a computer, but if you think about the same thing, when you keep inputting, and there's no output and no integration, means that the machine kind of, we have to reboot it sometimes. It actually, most computers, they go off, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. It's because it's saying, hey, I can't process all this stuff you're giving me all in one go. Like when you have a lot of windows open and all sorts of things, computer just can't handle it. That's overload. So it's the same thing. We have that same kind of overload, and we have to reboot. And sleep is our reboot. Mindfulness meditations are our reboot. Prayer is a reboot. They all bring us into a particular kind of resonance that allows our body to then do this part where it activates a lot of what's our lymphatic system and allows for the release of stuff to move from the interstitial or intracellular part spaces. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I know that most young people would go, hey, I've got to live, life is busy, we've got to keep moving. But actually, we really help ourselves in our later years if we make sure we practice really good sleep health and well-being.
Yeah.
And it is, as you said, I love that what you said, that correlation between emotional reactivity and lack of sleep. And it's really about that threshold level, right? We don't have, the threshold level is now too low, so we've got no reserve to be able to hold things. So we react straight away. And that's not fair on other people. It's not fair for your relationship.
Yeah, I love my sleep. I cannot live without my sleep.
I'm
When I
thinking
go
about
to
going for a wee sleep just after this, actually.
Yeah, when I go to sleep, if I say I'm going to sleep, it does not take me like 5 minutes to go to sleep. I don't have time to think about worries and things like that. If I go to sleep, I'm like, boom, I'm going to
On.
sleep. Everyone is like, Nomsa, how can you just go to sleep like that? I'm like, sleeping is sleeping. It's no time to worry about problems. So yeah,
Like that.
yeah, I love my sleep. If I really say, okay, now I'm going to sleep, I'm going to sleep. Or if I feel tired, I feel tired. I love what Carol Ann said as well, that if you don't rest, you lose communications. Because I think you need to stay focused as well. And you need to be able to hear, just to analyze what's going on in this world and hear your family communicating with you. And also, you mentioned that be able to take criticism as well. I think it is important. Criticism is also help us to grow. But there are some that people give it to you in for the sake of just putting you down. But you know those that when they criticize, they just want you to grow and be better. So I think that is really important. And I like it, Shireen, as well, when you say rebooting. I think rebooting is really, really important. Um, when you were overloaded with everything, like us working for ourselves, I think it's really, really important to understand the power of mindfulness. Some people believe that when they give themselves permission to rest, they feel guilty. Some feel ashamed because of needing to sleep, but you shouldn't really feel ashamed if your body tells you that it's time to rest, is self-judgment. Instead of having to wait for the doctor to tell you that something is wrong, and then you have to then you start resting. So you have to honor your purpose when you protect your well-being, because that is really, really important. For me, like I said, I only sleep 4 hours, but when my body tells me that nonsense, it's time to rest, it's time to rest. So I don't care who is gonna call me. I don't put my phone on silent. I leave it ring, because when I'm sleeping, I'm not gonna hear. I might hear it, but I'm not gonna answer it. But when the alarm it tells me it's time to wake up, I hear it. So if I'm resting, I'm resting. So I think that is really, really important, to actually to work really hard and at the same time and give yourself time to rest.
Mm.
And mostly when you're working for yourself, you have to be disciplined to give yourself time to rest.
I think that as at any time, because my mind suddenly flicked to even when I was teaching, I was in a job, you know, I still didn't always give myself the sleep that I needed because I was up late. I'd, be looking after the family, looking after the children, got them to bed. And then I'd start working again because I'd be marking books or setting, work, lesson plans and things. So I was always tired as well. But it is important. So whatever you're doing, whether you're in a job or you're self-employed, and even if you're working for yourself, it can be easy to sort of fudge everything together. So it's important to make sure that you do get that rest. And I think something you said, Shireen, it's important because later in life, people that push through now and think, oh, I haven't got time, I haven't got time. Well, yeah, body will suddenly go, here, you now have time. And everything else just has to take a back seat because it literally will stop you. And so, don't push it back into later years because that's when you'll start to regret it. And it's harder then to actually get that rest back in your body. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not impossible, but it takes that bit longer. And it was interesting. I met someone the other day. I was at a coffee shop and someone came in. We got talking and he was saying that we were talking about my teeth and they were falling out, and he's saying about his teeth falling out. And then he also had a stick. He was struggling to walk, and he started talking about age and, oh, it's just age. He said, I'm 54, so it's age creeping up. And I just went, really? That's quite young. But he couldn't hear that. It was like him, 54 was an age of where things start to fall out, and your body doesn't work as well. Well, how much have you not maybe looking after yourself? Because actually, for me, I'm nearly 72. It's like all of a sudden that hit me. He's only 54 and he's struggling, but he's got that mindset. So again, it's mindset, but resting. And the more I've allowed myself to sleep, the more I feel that energy coming back. So do be aware of. It's easy to push, push, push now, when you're younger, but it will keep up on you later. So listen to those words that Shireen was saying earlier, because we suddenly get there and we look back and we think, oh, you don't want to have that regret. So really carve out time and make sure you get good quality sleep. And that was something else Shireen was saying. It is about the quality of the sleep. And if you can't get to sleep, Nom's is lucky she head hits the pillow is what I'm hearing, and out she goes. And most times I can do that. And sometimes I'll wake up in the night and I can't get back to sleep. So it's knowing what to do when you can't sleep. It's like, well, what's going round in your head? What, sometimes the body might be just fidget, 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 and you just can't get still. And sometimes I suddenly realize all I need to do is go to the toilet.
Yeah.
And I get up and I go to the toilet and I go back and go back to sleep. And it's like your body's giving you that signal, but you're not reading it as a signal. So what is your body telling you? Other times when I still perhaps can't get back to sleep, I will then get up again and I will do some simple exercises. I mean, one thing I find is actually just swinging your arms up into the air and coming back down again, just flinging them back up and coming down. And then introducing, as you fling your arms up, go up onto your toes and come back down again. And just so that pumping action of going up onto your toes and back down again, it was something that a certain practitioner told me about many years ago. And I find that's really useful. Just a few of those, it's activating the body. Or I might just then fold over and let my hands dangle down to the floor and breathe into that and let myself drop down in, to touch. And you find you get closer and closer to the floor. And then I'll come back up again, just settle and then go back to bed. And I find that those few exercises just help to just settle the body again, and then off you go. So it is important to listen to your body, and if you can't sleep, then do something about it. So say those activities, there are other things, reach out. Got things we can share, or maybe even Google it. There are so many things out there you don't need to take medication for. There are natural ways of settling your body so you can get that sleep. But if there's things in anxiety and concern, again, there are techniques you can use to help settle the anxiety. But it's then you need to face, well, what are those anxieties? You need to address them, because otherwise they will always be a niggle. So what is it you're not facing that's becoming a niggle, that's impacting your sleep? Find the courage to face them. And if you can't, then reach out, because that's what we're here for, to help you face those challenges so you can have a more peaceful, restful life. You can have a more peaceful sleep. And therefore your life can function much more peacefully and joyfully. Because actually, when one person is exhausted, the relationship absorbs it. Everyone else around you gets impacted. So in a way, if you don't sort yourself out and you exhaust yourself, to be honest, that's being selfish, because you are impacting the rest of the family, the relationship, even work colleagues, maybe, it is important to think about yourself. It's not being lazy. It's about rest being a regulation for your body.
Yeah.
Good to think about.
Yeah, lots to think about, lots and lots and lots. But it is, the rest is the regulation, isn't it?
Yes.
And I loved what you said. I used to remember not knowing why. I used to, if I woke up, I would go and do exercise, and not much, but just a couple of different exercises. And I would go to bed, out, lights out. Often I used to fight because I didn't want to get up and do the exercises. But, when you get to the final thing, oh God, I need to go to sleep. Let's go do some exercise, come back. And I think it's really understanding that if we're waking up, and I think, often we wake up to, sometimes we overheat, in the sense we wake up for around our liver time, which is between 2 and 5, or maybe a little earlier, 1 and 4, whichever way the clock sits for you. But really, and that's when we're getting our body is really metabolizing, and we are actually burning. And so what it can do is we can have a paradoxical sympathetic drive that wakes us up. And by going and doing the exercise, which you said, lifting yourself up and then sort of coming down, these are very good parasympathetic. They help to bring the sympathetic down, but they also help to activate the parasympathetic, which is our rest and repair, our sleep and reproduce system. So when we're bending over and we're touching the ground and we're just taking a deep breath, that's activating the one down in our lower pelvis region. So you're doing something really powerful there. So I love it. And thank you for bringing that up because it's really important, because these are really good things to know. And I think what's so important is we can do something about it, right? We also know that when we need to sleep, when we wake up at night and we're hot, it may be because we've gone to bed a little bit hotter. So it might be better to have that room a little bit cooler, right? Because we are going to go into this liver phase anyway. So if you are finding that you're a little bit more stressed, your liver's got to work a little bit harder. Bigger chemicals coming around your body. You know, your cortisol is a big chemical. And it's got to get broken down, and the liver finds this challenging, especially if you've been stressed for a long time. So being able to do that is a really powerful thing. And just understanding that that might be what it is, right? Takes away all the stuff that goes on. Listening to what your body is saying and go, oh, that's what it is. I remember I was drinking a little bit heavily once, and I had sort of I had drunk sort of a whole bottle of wine. Oh, it was really nice wine, so it was quite nice, very expensive wine. I enjoyed it, but I woke up in the middle of the night with my heart going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, gee, this is strange. Am I having a panic attack? What's going on here? And I realized that I hadn't drunk water. So I was actually dehydrated, and my heart was saying, hey, you're overheating because it's now the liver time, right? And you haven't had any fluid. So you're really giving me a hard time. And so once I realized, oh, it's that. Okay, drink some water. And that went down. I had enough fluid and I was fine. So really, when you wake up at night, think first, what's the body trying to tell you first before you start worrying about other things. Just go, what's the logical thing? Maybe I'm just a little bit hot. Maybe I need to go to the loo. Maybe I just need to do a little stretch. Maybe this is this hour, this particular hour where everything is activated anyway. And so all I need to do is go up and do some of those exercises. I think if we understand what it might be first before we go into the other stuff, then we've got the first line of help on self-help. And most of the time you get back to sleep pretty quickly once you've done one of those few things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you.
thank you
That's
for bringing that
beautiful.
up and reminding me that's such an important thing, and that I used to do it automatically. I used to resist it.
Yeah.
But when I did, I used to go, oh God, I have to do it now. Okay, you're telling me to do this. Go do it now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's lovely you bring in the explanation of what's happening, like with the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems and how it's helping with those. I think that really helps to understand.
Yeah, I think you ladies, what you're touching is the body can actually communicate with us what it likes, what it doesn't like. And then it's up to us whether we want to listen to our body or we don't. Like my pastor always say, when God speaks to you, he guides you through the things that you don't want to do. You're like, that's not God, that's Satan, because he's saying what you don't want to do. Then you start like doing other things, and you're like, okay, let me come back. But then God is very clear with what he wants you to do. I think the body works like that as well. It actually communicates. Like, you know what? I cannot take this or I can take this. So it does communicate. I think the important is to realize that how sleep shapes our responses when it comes to communications, when it comes to love, when it comes to at work as well. A tired minds react like Carol Ann said at the beginning. and the rested mind understands the difference. It can make a big difference in our relationship, in our love lives. uh, I used to see like too many people like they're like struggle. Like I said before, people struggle. The good thing is, when you have your everyday life, you don't have a relationship with problems. Me, I separate myself from problems. So when I go to sleep, I don't think about them. So I try to actually think about now it's time for me to sleep. Now it's time for me to sort out the problems. So everyone, people don't understand that they're like, no, sir, how can you just be just like you go? I'm like, when you say yourself you go to sleep, what else do you think about? Do you think about anything else? They're like, yeah, but it's hard to go to sleep. Like Kayla's dad, it takes him like half an hour to go to sleep. I'm like, what are you doing in a half an hour? What are you thinking about in that half an hour? I'm like, in a half an hour, I'm gone. If I say good night, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to sleep. So that's me. So because I've learned, I've trained myself to say, okay, if my body is thinking about things right now, it's time to think about this, it's time to think about business, and it's time to disconnect. And when I'm at home, don't talk to me about business. I'm at home. No, we don't talk about business at home unless with my family. But don't call me and disturb me if I'm at home or think. Or I've learned to disconnect. When I'm entering my house, now it's about my family. Whatever is going on, it can wait till after tomorrow, because otherwise you may find that people will call you to actually cause stress, but you can't solve that problem straight away. So for me, if I'm at home, I'm at home. We talk about the problems, like how is the day been. We talk about the business, like normal things. But I always say to my clients, if there is a problem that can wait, it can wait. But if it can't wait, I understand, it's fine. But sometimes, unless if it's for an emergency, but I try to separate. Even if you call me if I'm at home, I can't think about your problems. So I have to sort them out. If I can't sort them out, I'm like, let's go on Zoom tomorrow. I've got to prepare to talk to you. But I ain't gonna take Carol and to my sleep. That's what I've trained myself. I'm not taking anybody to my sleep. I'm not taking problems to my sleep. That's my boundaries. That's my principles of life. And if I'm tired, there is no like Nomsa, you can wait, you can do anything. I go and rest. So I think that is really, really important. What else? I try to protect my evening sleep, my evening as well, by not bringing business. I'm the CEO at work. At home, I'm a mom. My children, they know that I'm a mom. So whatever the motivation that I teach them not because I'm a CEO or because I'm this. I just want to be a mom when I'm at home, and that's it. And even with my family, they know if they've got problems, we've got to switch. When Nomsa is a coach, when Nomsa is your family member. So we've got to know the boundaries.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Set the boundaries and keep them. Definitely. There's something there's something that came to me as you were talking about being able to get to sleep. And one of the things that you can do is actually, whatever's going on in your mind, just hand them over. All your worries, just hand them over to God, to the universe, and just say, let me have some rest. And by popping them up there and asking for the universe or God to work on them, actually allowing yourself that sleep, you very often find you wake up in the morning and there's like, oh, solutions come. So that's something else you can do, is just hand over. But there's got a lovely quote here. It says, rest is not a retreat from life. It is the returning point where your spirit gathers strength to love again. And I think that's, to love again, it's loving yourself, it's loving life, it's loving your relationships, but whatever that love is, it's enabling you to be able to love again.
Yeah.
So rest is not a retreat from life. So I love that. So sort of, you mentioned a few things, Namsa, about sort of getting yourself ready for bed or going, setting your boundaries. So some other sort of practical things you can do in this time is perhaps maybe have a more structured bedtime. Like nights are coming in, so shift your bedtime ritual, perhaps go to bed that bit earlier. Have some warm foods, because it's the warmth that your body is craving sort of in this sort of time. It's cold, so something warm. And it always reminds me, actually, hot milk at bedtime was always a great favorite. So but even maybe sort of in the evening, dim the lights a bit, sort of bring yourself into that evening ready. And perhaps not trying to solve relationship issues when you're exhausted. Sort of go, okay, use nights to just decompress and to really bring yourself to yourself. Maybe there's some rituals you could bring in, like maybe there's a 10-minute quiet, just having a cuddle together, because that's sort of hugging, bring that. It just helps to calm the nervous system. Maybe even go for an evening walk. Doesn't need to be a long walk, but actually that bit of exercise, that bit of fresh air, just going out, it's change of scenery and just come back. Just even a 10-minute walk. Just go out and have that walk, come back. Shifts everything, because you've got movement in there. Or even just a shared wind down routine. So something you can do together just to wind down for the evening. Some other personal practices that you could do is maybe journaling out your mental clutter. I said about handing it over, journal it out, write about it. But also, and this is something I don't do, but perhaps I ought to, that might help a bit at times, is actually limiting screens before bed.
Yeah.
So, put the phones down, put the laptop down, or turn off the telly, things like that. And actually accepting a slower pace without guilt. If that is what is coming into your life, if that's what's here in this season, then accept this is where you're at. That slower pace is here. And let go of the guilt and the thinking, oh, no, I've got to keep going. Oh, no, I need that faster pace. No, it's here for a reason. So do take those on board, because actually being rested increases your patience, your empathy, your libido, your desire for connection, and your capacity for deeper conversation. So amazing benefits just for being rested. So I think I'd just like to leave our listeners with that. Shireen, what about you?
Yes, I love what you've said, all of those things, because I think it's really important, particularly of how rest increases the communication. It increases our ability to deal with tricky situations. And in fact, it's just the best thing ever, right?
Right.
Since bubblegum, but I think we don't really think bubblegum is such a good thing. It used to be a whole thing, best thing since bubblegum. Right. Well, bubblegum we know is not so good. Anyway, I really loved what you said there, Nomsa, which was so important. And I think it is about listening to the body, right? It is about choosing and developing a relationship with our body. So the more we rest, the more we activate a lot of the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps us move towards things. It helps us become open and engaged. It also tells us we got a greater level of safety, which means we can jump more, we can be more when we feel safe, right? So this is really important. When we don't feel safe, we don't necessarily take risks. We don't go out and experience life to the fullest. So having that good rest really gives us our core part of our body a perceived sense of safety, a perceived sense of where we are in space. And so listening to our body is one of the things that we talk about all the time. How do you know when somebody's doing something? You know, when do you say a no, right? You've got to listen to your body to be able to make those kinds of decisions. And so the clear channel, right? The sleep gives us the clear channel to know what those feelings are. So for me, that's really the takeaway that I would really love to put in here. And the handing over to God, right? Just park it literally by actually moving your hands and just doing that is a really strange way. It actually gives the brain and the body a way of seeing things away from us and not so much impacting us right here. And it gives us that reprieve, which can be really important. And, of course, REM sleep, we all hear about REM sleep, but we know in trauma, REM sleep is very often disrupted. REM sleep often doesn't happen in people with depression. So we need REM sleep because that is our process sleep. That's the sleep that actually physically gets rid of all the processes, all the experiences we've had during our day and allows us to filter them out in a very, very safe way. So, yeah, I think just really understand that sleep is so important. And sleep allows us that connection to our body so that we can engage with others better, that we can engage with ourselves better. And I think that's what I'll just kind of say. So prepare yourself for a good sleep.
I love that, Shireen. I love it. And also, I love what Carol Ann said, allow yourself to slow down without feeling behind. I think that is really important. Uh, as long we honor our body, for me, I leave you guys with the honoring your body. That is really, really important. Your body signal instead of ignoring them because, and also Sharon said, hand everything to God. For me, I always say to people, when you're feeling lonely, that's not finding a partner because you're feeling lonely. You're feeling lonely, that's what God's job is for. Burdens, all your problems, that's what God is for. So I can't carry my problems. So I hand him over. And people, they always say, oh, no, sir, you live in dreams. I'm like, I don't. That's why I don't get stressed. Because if I hand everything to him, it will sort everything out where you bring me helpers. But if I try to sort things my own, then I end up getting stressed. So I might as well say, okay, God, I read the scripture and say, you take everything that I'm going through, and then I just have to implement. If I have to go to sleep, I just go to sleep. As long I'm not being lazy, I know I work. So I don't watch TV. I think I've not watched TV for 3 years now. So I don't watch TV. TV is basically I think my children helped me. This fighting of who is watching what, who is watching what. I just gave up. I was like, you know what? You can have the TV. So sometimes I get people for the insurance saying, would you like to insure your TV? I'm like, no, I don't. If it breaks, I'll have a break in 1 week or 2 weeks without TV. I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Honestly. But now my daughter, she's not watching TV either. I think this TV has not come on for a month now. I've not seen it
Ah.
coming on in the house, honestly. Because now
Mm.
she's a YouTuber, Carol Ann.
Oh,
And she gets loads of views. She comes in and then she'll post her video and she goes, Mommy, I've posted this video now. I've got 600 views. Like,
Wow.
posted 2 hours ago. Oh yeah, she gets loads of views, or 2,000 or 3,000 sometimes.
Yeah.
So now
Wow.
no one watches TV anymore because her sister, she's away. So I think they were fighting the TV. So even me myself, I've given up.
Oh,
So I
lovely.
think, yeah, just just put you first and just have a rest without feeling guilty or
Mm.
without comparing yourself with anyone. Because for me, the 4 hour sleep, I had to train it. I started it a bit by bit to see whether it works or it doesn't. But now, if I go back to 8 hours or 10 hours sleep, I don't think when I wake up, I'll have to, I'll feel sick. So I can't sleep that much. So yeah, that's important, but that works for me. So that's what I leave you guys. Do what works for you. And if you're watching us from YouTube, guys, please do subscribe to our channel. Like Carol Ann and Shireen said, we are coaches here. If you need any coaching or some guidance, please do contact Shireen direct and follow them on their social media as well, or you can contact them through me as well or through the website. There's different contacts that you can do, and we have two groups: Unique Billionaire Mindset and Nkositalkshows. Please do join the groups and be part of the talk show. Share the talk show, guys. Like and share, and with your families and your friends. And I shall see you guys tomorrow. Shireen and Carol, and we'll see you guys next week.
Next week.
Mm-hmm.